Hello there. I have a vulnerable share for you today. My significant other, James, has started a 3D printing business. And let me just show you a couple of samples because they're really cool. He prints out these articulating dragons and other little figures. It's really neat because they all uh, get printed at the same time. People ask that a lot. People ask if we print the pieces and put them together, but it actually prints like this with the articulation and whatnot. That's pretty astounding when you think about it. There's another guy, a little s'mores dragon. Anyway, we started selling at farmers markets, and that's going really well, by the way. And so the person that runs the farmers market that we're selling at also runs this event. It is a disability awareness and fundraiser event, and it was kind of a bunch of different things put together. The it was kind of like a farmers market setup, um, a car show, a barbecue cook-off, a um, bouncy castle whole setup. Like there was three different bouncy castles set up. There was a petting zoo supposedly. There was live music, so there was a lot of stuff going on. So we were one of the vendors in the farmers market section, and it was an all-day event. And we were a little uh, unprepared for it. We didn't bring any food with us, so it was like from we got there at I believe 7 and it went until 7. So it was a 12-hour event. And we didn't bring any food with us. So like I'm sitting there all day long just starving and uh, one of the things that we learned from previous farmers markets was not to go and eat from the food trucks. Otherwise, we spend all of our earnings from the day and it kind of cancels it out. So we kind of like trained ourselves to not go and eat from the food trucks just because they're a little bit more higher priced than say going to a drive-through or something. So mm, so I'm like sitting there really hungry, almost to the point of passing out, and we finally break down and buy like 3 hot dogs for the day. And um, uh, it wasn't until the end of the day when the announcer was announcing the um the winners of the cook-off. And it just for some reason that made it sink in what the cook-off was all about. Like, I don't know about you, but I've never been to a cookout or a cook-off. Yeah. I've never been to a cook-off. And I'm from California, so I don't know if maybe cook-offs are less prevalent in California, or maybe I just never went to one because it wasn't in my family's culture to go to them. So I had zero experience with cook-offs. So I had no idea the entire day there was a lineup of barbecue aficionados, barbecue vendors. I thought they were vendors, set up in a line on display, giving away free samples. And you're supposed to go and taste test everybody's barbecue, like a go that you were expected to go to all of the booths and get free food from each of them, and then you vote for your favorite one. I didn't know any of this. I know that for people that know what a cook-off is, you're probably thinking, wow, how could you not know that? Right? You're just sitting there going, what, how do you not know what a cook-off is? Like, how do you not know that they're offering you samples of their food so they can do like a People's Choice of, award, right? So, um, in that moment of discovering that, I um I was instantly like so mad at myself for my own ignorance because here I was almost passing out from not eating, and there was like a free buffet right next door. And you don't know what you don't know. And before that event, I didn't know what a cook-off was. And the reason why I'm sharing this is because I feel like I'm not the only person who was experiencing this. Because one, I had one free sample that day, and the one sample that I had was because uh, one of the barbecue people, I was in earshot, and he said, "Hey, would you like a free sample?" And I ran up and grabbed a little thing called a chicken bomb. It's like a piece of chicken wrapped in bacon. It was pretty good. And at the time, I even though I got the free sample, I still didn't figure it out at that point because I was like, well, he's probably offering free samples, so that I'm like, okay, yeah, I want to buy this $20 plate of food or whatever. So that's what I was thinking. It was like, oh, okay, he's trying to lure me in to buy something. So, still not grasping the concept. um, I did happen to have that one sample, and here's why: because he had a strategy for bringing people in. This really does have to do with marketing, first of all. And I'll bring it home for you in a second. The the person that won, that was the guy that won, the guy that offered me the free sample. He won by a landslide. He got 500 votes, and all of the other competitors were less than 200, like significantly less than 200. And that is why. Because he did that one thing, he was raising awareness in his own right because he was getting the attention of the people around him. And even the people who probably didn't know that there was a cook-off going on because they were there for the car show or whatever. Um, there was probably people that maybe like me, they didn't realize that the food was free. So nobody around was partaking. And just doing that one act of, hey, would you like a free sample? Broke that barrier between the competitors and the general masses. So there are actually two marketing messages here. One is um, be evangelistic, shout from the rooftops, bring attention to yourself. I know this is kind of hard for some people. Some entrepreneurs are a little introverted or shy, and they don't want to attract attention to themselves. But in order to win by that landslide, that's what he did. And secondarily, how many things do you do where you think your audience knows something that maybe they don't? What really hit home was the fact that I use a lot of jargon, and I've been in marketing for 25 years. And the problem is when you are an expert in something, you tend to have this expectation that the other people you're talking to have a certain amount of knowledge about the same thing that you do. I was at a networking event the other day, and I started talking about lead magnets. And the woman I was talking to said, "What's a lead magnet?" And I realized there's so many times I'm projecting things out there in my messaging where I assume people understand what these concepts are. These phrases, words, keywords. that I use all the time, like lead magnet, uh, sales funnel, URL, domain, um, click through rate, call to action, ROI. I'm sure there's countless others that I'm using all the time. Digital marketing. Heck, that's my thing is I'm always going out there saying I'm a digital marketer. And apparently there's a huge percentage of the people out there that don't know what I mean when I say digital marketing. So you really need to break it down to the most simple message. Because think about this. In the case of the barbecue, the cook-off, all somebody would have had to do was put handwrite 2 words on a sticky note, say free samples, post that on the front of their booth, and people would have been flocking to them. But we're always over complicating things, but you really need to just simplify as much as you possibly can so that the people that you are interacting with, that you're trying to get their attention, can actually grasp something. Um, Let me give you another example. Uh, my business partner, Alice Palom, and I just started the most recent iteration of our program called The Journey to Success. And in it, one of the sessions is all about smarter goals. Not smart goals, smarter goals. So she, because this is our unique spin on the concept of smart goals, focused on the ER in smarter goals. But after the session was over, I was thinking to myself, this is like a business foundations course. What if they've never been exposed to the concept of SMART goals yet? And we're doing them a huge disservice by not explaining what the SMART goal is before we try to get fancy and talk about the SMART goals. Uh, and how many times do we do that? How many times do we just assume that they already know something that we know just because we know it? As entrepreneurs, one of our jobs is to inform our audience of what we're talking about, to educate them. And this is why value content is so useful and brings results. It's because that bringing that awareness is part of our job. When I first started my business 5 years ago, my tagline was helping you brand like $1 billion company. I thought it was being clever. And after interacting with a lot of people in networking events and whatnot, they all kind of had the same reaction, which was, oh, so you do logos. That was their extent of the extent of their knowledge around the concept of branding. Is a brand as a logo. And it's my job to go out and inform people that branding is so much more than just the logo. In fact, I hate doing logos. Logos is not my forte. And that's part of the reason why I kind of steered my messaging away from branding and more towards marketing, because I figured people would understand the concept of marketing more than branding, because maybe they don't value what branding could do for their business, but they know that marketing brings customers. So I redirected to digital marketing, and still people are, there's still that pushback there of, I still don't get it. What do you mean by digital marketing? Do you do like, what do you do? So then I have to explain it. It's like, oh, okay, I help you with your social media marketing, with your sales funnels, with creating a lead magnet, with publishing your book, even if you want to have a book and turn that into a funnel, and your email marketing sequences and your automations, and um, there's all of these other things involved. But it's that's the challenge really of being an entrepreneur. And when you bring in the concept of having your unique selling proposition, and yes, I'm saying unique selling proposition, where some people might be saying, what the heck is a unique selling proposition? it means what about your company is so unique that it makes you distinguished from your competitors. So when you're creating your unique selling proposition, you're putting an innovative spin on on the the generalized topic, but that actually adds to that need for informing people. Because if you say, one thing that I might lean towards in the near future is changing um, my title of myself to manifesting marketer instead of digital marketer. Why? Because the law of attraction and manifestation is a huge part of my world, and that kind of bleeds over into everything that I do, intentionally or not. So why not embrace that uniqueness about myself and just call myself the manifesting marketer? Because then I have to go around and tell people, well, if I say I'm a manifesting marketer, and then they say, well, what does that mean? I mean, sure, it's getting that, it's piquing their curiosity, but I also actually have to follow through and explain to them, what does that mean? And have you ever noticed how, well, maybe this is one of those assumptions that I'm making about everybody because this is the way I am. I'm like this, maybe you're like this. Do you feel the most unintelligent the moment you learn something new? I have a tendency to, as soon as I discover something that was previously something that I didn't know that I didn't know, I instantly am down on myself because I'm like, oh, why? Why didn't I know this sooner? Duh. It's obvious to me now. It's obvious to me the situation that's going on, but the previous version of me up until that point didn't know about that. But in that moment of, ah, I get it now. It's also like, wow, how did I go my entire life with never knowing what the heck a cook-off was? How did I go the entire day sitting next to a all you can eat buffet of pulled pork and barbecue ribs and like all this deliciousness, uh and not know. and while I was sitting there starving and to the point of almost passing out, it's just like, ah, it's like so mad at myself at that moment. But maybe this is just my spin on it. So I should probably just speak for myself here when I say that when I learn something new for the first time, my instant reaction is to be down on myself for not already knowing it. Uh, and that's maybe this is just my frame on my perception of reality. Uh, then I'm like, why didn't I know this sooner? Right? Like, why didn't I already know what a cook-off was? Like, how ignorant am I that I don't like? I'm 46 years old and I've never been to a cook-off. I don't know what a cook-off is. So I'm like, wow, how ignorant of me. So I don't know if that's you or not. Maybe you have a better way of coping when you discover one of your blind spots. I mean, I don't think that I was the only person who who was experiencing that because, like I said, that person at the barbecue booth who was saying, "Hey, would you like a free sample?" He won by a landslide because he was grabbing the attention of the people around him, right? and and you know, countless people walked by the booths. I walked by the booth several times because I was trying to like, I was like, I want food. How can I get the food? But I didn't see any signs out. I didn't see any prices out. I didn't know what was going on. I thought that they were just food vendors. I didn't realize that there was no menu just because they were just handing food out to people, but nobody said anything. None of them except that one person. So be that person. Be that person that is out there raising awareness about what you do, informing people, filling in their blind spots, getting their attention, communicating with them. Oof, that's huge. Communication is key. Interacting with them, talking with them like a person instead of a number. And that was like the key element to his success. It was that easy. Just asking, would you like a free sample? So the moral of the story is, what is that thing that you can? What is your free sample? What do you have a free sample? A free sample of what it's like to work with you, or um, a little mini course so people can experience your teaching style, or a free ebook to share your knowledge with them so they say, oh wow, this person's really an expert in this topic. I should reach out to them. That's your lead magnet, by the way. Your free sample is your lead magnet. And secondly, what are you doing to get your message out there, to share your free sample? How are you sharing your free sample with people? Do people know about it? One of the biggest things about marketing is how many people know you exist. So what are you doing to raise that awareness, to get the message out there, to get your free sample into the hands of your target audience? Are you making it easy for them? Are you making it an easy yes? Because if you'll notice in my story, I didn't go up to any of those vendors and ask them, how does this thing work? Or what are your prices? Or can I have one? I didn't. For some reason, I just had that mental block against asking them because I was like, oh, I don't want to buy the vendor food. It's too expensive. That was my mindset. It's like, I can't do this. I really want to, but I can't because it's too expensive. But it was free. So what are you doing? What are you doing to be the person who is just that little bit more assertive in case they're not? Because I love attraction marketing, but I noticed that a lot of people get stuck there. They're afraid to ask for the sale. They're afraid to even mention that they own a business. They don't want to, for whatever reason, they're just stuck in that place of not wanting to be the person reaching out to the other person because, oh, but that's not attraction marketing. Attraction marketing is they come to me, so I have to wait for them to talk to me. But if that person in that booth had that mindset, he wouldn't have won. If he was waiting for everybody else to come up to him and ask him for something, like all of the other barbecue people did, they they didn't get that many votes, which means probably that not that many people tried their food, right? So you have to have a little bit of assertion. Just put yourself out there just a little bit, and it might not take much, just enough to get their attention. Hey, you over there. I was in earshot, right? I was just far enough away for them to get my attention and say, hey, come over here. You want a free sample? That's all it takes. That's all it takes. So we're overcomplicating this marketing thing and just going, oh, I've done all these things and nobody's coming to me. Take that one little step forward. I usually don't talk politics, but John Kerry made this beautiful statement, and he said something like, "Be the first person to reach your hand out as a gesture of goodwill. I want to shake your hand. Here's my hand. Be that person that takes that first step forward." So, yes, attraction marketing is cool. Uh, the opposite of attraction marketing is like, chasing people down, um, cold calling, door knocking, DMing people until they block you. You don't have to be that aggressive. Okay. Okay. I'm not asking you to do that, but I'm asking you to take a step towards them, to initiate them taking a step towards you. So, what are you doing to take that step forward? Are you announcing that you have a freebie? Download my free ebook. You can put that on your social media. That's not intrusive or salesy to add a link to your freebie on your social media profiles. Hello? Or on the top of your website or something. Conspicuous place out there in the internet space, on social media or your website, or on forums, or if you go to networking events, add a link to your freebie in your contact info that you're giving to people. I mean, it's a very small gesture that goes a long way. Now, I'm kind of um, sidetracking here, but another thing I wanted to bring up about this whole thing is, um, so there's the quadrants. Like if you had a pie, if you had a circle and you kind of did like a little pie chart of these different types of perceptions, the general consensus is there are things that things that you don't know, things that you don't know that you don't know. And then I think the last one is things that you don't know that you know. So anyway, so the biggest one of all of these is the area of things that you don't know that you don't know. And that's your blind spot. And we all have them. We all have a blind spot. And sometimes the revelation of going from having it be in your blind spot to now it's in front of you and you can now see it and you now realize the error of your ways can kind of be a painful process. And some things you only have to learn once, right? Now that I know what a cook-off is, I'm going to be looking through the classifieds for every cook-off I can find because, hey, I get to go and sample free food. This is great. Had I but known earlier, right? But now, moving forward, I'm always going to know that. So there's that kind of knowledge. And then there's the kind of knowledge where no matter how much you know about something, there's always more stuff that you don't know, like marketing. Like I said, I've been in marketing for 25 years and I'm convinced that there's so much about marketing that I still don't understand. That's why I'm a constant student. That's why I don't ever want to be the person that says, I know that already. Oh, you don't have to tell me, I know this, right? Even if somebody is reviewing something that I already know about, even intimately, they're I still sit there and just let them talk. I still listen to what they have to say because maybe they have an angle on a perspective on something that I never considered, or maybe them bringing it up in a certain way gives me other little ahas that wouldn't have occurred if I had been closed-minded about it. If I had just sat there and went, well, I already know all of this. I'm a marketer. You don't have to tell me how to be a marketer, right? I don't ever want to have that superiority, that arrogance, that um, whew, that egotistical ignorance. That's why I'm constantly learning. That's why I still go to events that the newbies are attending because I'm always learning more about marketing. And I feel like it's a subject that I can keep learning about until the day I die, and I will still not have even touched the surface. And even if I was so hyper vigilant and got into like the super learning focused state for 12 hours a day to learn as much about marketing as I possibly could, and even if I learned everything on the planet there is about marketing, fact of the matter is, marketing is constantly evolving, changing. New strategies are coming along, new platforms are coming along, new technologies, new tactics are coming along. So things are always evolving in marketing. So even if I knew 100% of the information today, 6 months from now, I could be behind the times again. Let me give you another example. Russell Brunson. Now, he's the kind of person that I've been following for years, and maybe I'm just taking it for granted that a lot of people know about him already. If you don't know about him, he is the founder of ClickFunnels, which is uh, you set up your online sales funnel, um, like an opt-in page with your lead magnet, right? So and that's like the software that he developed is, oh, don't use websites, use sales funnels. They're more streamlined. They get the person to take one action instead of going to a website where there's multiple different types of actions and activities and directions that you can go in, and people don't end up taking any action at all, right? So that's his whole philosophy. He created a movement. He has a whole following. He has millions of followers. In fact, many have claimed that he is the best marketer on the planet. The best marketer on the planet. Okay. He's studied from the likes of all of the greats, like, Dan Kennedy and um, Napoleon Hill. And he's like me. He's like this constant learner, and he's going around and he's just trying to like soak in all of this knowledge about marketing. Even he makes mistakes, a lot of them. And the difference between him and an average marketer is that he's um, going through iteration after iteration after iteration, and changing and tweaking and honing things in. And the reason why I know this is because I was a part of his one of his recent launches called Offerlab. And Offerlab is kind of like ClickFunnels, but more universal. Before, if you have, say, a Go High Level account, you wouldn't have any reason to start paying for ClickFunnels because they're competitors. They do the same thing. Their platform kind of has the same functionality. So you pick one or the other, right? He erased all of that by saying, here's Offerlab. It doesn't matter where your offers are being held, whether it's ClickFunnels, Go High Level, Groove Funnels, countless other platforms out there, right? If you Kajabi, Kartra, whatever, Thrivecart, wherever your offer is housed, you can add your offer to Offerlab, the platform, add your offer to the platform. And now not only can you create your landing page on the platform, but you can have other people become your affiliate and sell your product for you. Now, obviously, they get a cut of it. They get a commission for that, it's a finder's fee, a referral fee, whatever you want to call it, right? So it's a win-win. They're promoting your offer to their audience. You're getting traffic you wouldn't have normally gotten without having to pay for ads. So you're saying, oh, gee, thanks for that exposure. Here's a little kickback. So it's a win-win, right? It's a total win-win. And I was delighted to be one of the founding people to join. During the pre-launch, actually, is when I signed up. And I have an affiliate link that I share with people if I'm inviting people to start using Offerlab. And then if they if they sell something or if they bring people to the platform, then it's kind of like, the commissions siphon through. So you kind of get like a little percentage of everybody that you bring in. So obviously there's an incentive to bring people in. So I've been sharing the platform with a lot of people, and I've noticed that the affiliate link, when I send it to them, I'll test the link, because that's one of the things I always advise you do is test your links. Always, always, always test your links. So I'm always going and checking the link before I send it to them. And every single time, the same link goes to a different thing. The first time it was watch this 3-part video series. And then it was watch this, 45-minute training or whatever. And then under that, it was a button that says, sign up to be a certified Offerlab specialist, right? So that's the upsell, is you go from the free account to pay for your certification. And there's all these bonuses and whatnot. He totally does the whole bonus stacking and all that. And I've noticed that every time the landing page is different. So he's testing it, tweaking it, adjusting it, reiteration after reiteration, and it's every time it's different. And honestly, I think he's still in the testing mode, because I feel he's making a grave mistake right now. Yes, I'm just this little nobody saying the greatest marketer on the planet, or the greatest marketer of all time, is Myron Golden's quote of him is the greatest marketer of all time. I am saying he's messing up. And here's why. Let me explain to you why Russell Brunson is wrong. It's because when I'm getting people to sign up for it, I'm not trying to send them to a 2-hour long video training. I'm trying to send them to a sign up form. I've already primed them. I've already talked about it. I got them excited about it. I'm like, set up your account on Offerlab, and then you can start promoting my product to your audience, and you can get a commission from that. That's basically how I'm selling it. So they're going in there with the expectation of, I'm just gonna, fill out a form and grab a free account, and then I can be an affiliate partner, right? But no, you can't just go in and enter your information. When you go to the page, you now have to sit through like an hour-long webinar before a button will pop up. And on this last iteration that I saw, there was no thanks, I don't want to be certified. It was just the button to get the certification. So if somebody doesn't want the certification, they can't sign up as an affiliate now. This seems like a huge mistake to me. And maybe it's all planned. Maybe it's a part of a graduated release, and maybe it's the next tier up. Maybe now you can't get a free Offerlab account anymore. I have no idea. Um, but in my opinion, it seems like a huge mistake to not have somebody who's already primed and ready to go to be able to click on a button, enter in their basic information, not a whole survey. That was one of the iterations from the past. Was it walks you through this series of questions like, what is the name of your business? What do you do? How do you help people? Give a description of your business, and blah blah blah. Like, it's trying to get all this information out of you. So then that was one of the iterations that went away. And so the bottom line is you want to make it as simple as possible for somebody, especially if they're already primed, they're already a yes. They're already a yes. They went to the link because they wanted to sign up, and now all of a sudden they have to jump through all these hoops. So what can you do to make it super easy for somebody to engage with you, to engage with your content, to download your lead magnet, whatever, what have you, without having to go through all these obstacles? Just make it super simple. In fact, make it like, okay, so you put the link on your social media profile. It says, download my free ebook on the top 10 ways to market yourself in 2025 or whatever. Um, and then have the link go to a landing page that says, ask for your name and your email address. That's it. Just two things: name and email address. First name and email address. It's just so a little bit less committee, a little bit less intimidating for the person that's signing up, because they're just like, I don't want to tell you my life story. I just want this, right? But they're willing to exchange that information for what you have. So honestly, I think that this iteration that Russell is putting out there is a mistake, because I think that you should make it like, okay, my affiliates are doing a great job of promoting this platform for me. I don't have to sell them on it. That's what he's trying to do with this webinar, is sell you on the idea of Offerlab, when I already told you about Offerlab. Go sign up for Offerlab. And so the person that I'm talking to just says, okay, yeah, I'll do it, right? And now they have to take a step backwards. The way I see this is taking somebody who's standing in the front of the line and moving them to the back of the line. Now they have to sit there and go through all these things and wait. And where's the button? I just want the sign up button. Where is it? Right? But you have to wait until the end of the webinar before the button appears, right? So all of these gimmicky little things, like I said, maybe he has some master plan. Maybe this is just like a tiered launch, uh, where the pricing structure is changing. Who knows? But my perception of the current iteration of that landing page is, get rid of it. It's not working. So maybe he has the idea of monetization. Like, I don't want to just give away these free accounts anymore. You have to buy the certification, right? Who knows? Who knows what's going on in his head? But he is always changing it, and likely next time I go to it, it'll look different. In fact, I put in a complaint, so hopefully he'll listen to my advice and change that. So, um, to wrap up, what are the things you have to do to be better at marketing? Don't be jargony. When you're talking about things that are in your area of expertise, don't assume everybody knows as much as you know, because obviously you're the expert, which makes you know more than most people by default. So stop assuming what they know. um, and just make it easy for them. Simplify the entire process. Simplify your language. Simplify the process that people have to go through. Break it down into the smallest components possible. Like I said, it would only take 2 words to get somebody's attention, to get them to take that first step, and you have them from there, right? Um, Always be learning and growing and tweaking and adjusting and improving, uh, and reiterating. And it's okay, because even the greatest marketer on the planet is doing that. So you sitting there going, well, I'll pull the trigger, and I'll do my launch as soon as everything is perfect and everything's dialed in. That is the exact opposite thing that you need to do. Just throw it out there. Be like Russell Brunson. Just throw it out there, even if it's wrong. Because sooner or later, if you get feedback from the people that are interacting with it, and act accordingly, adjust and make changes based on that feedback, then you're going to start going in the right direction. One last thought. I was recently in a coaching conversation, and the one of the people talking said he was a sailor, and he said something about sailboats that I didn't know. And that is, the sailboat is never pointed in the right direction. Like, the front of the boat, I don't even know the word for the whatever it is, yeah, I don't, whatever the front of the boat is called, is never aiming at its destination. Because the way that the rig works and the sail and the wind and how you use the wind, it's like always at an angle, it's always zigzagging, and you're kind of doing these little micro adjustments as you go to get where you want to go. So you have where you are now, and you have your destination of where you want to be, your goal, your dream income level, or your lifestyle, the house you own, or being able to travel, or whatever that end goal is for you, right? That you're trying to reach towards. You think that what you need to do is sit here and just make this, dial in this perfectly so that you're, before you even start moving forward, you're like angling it in and trying to just like do like, okay, perfect. Okay, I'm right there. I can see it in my sights. I can see the goal like perfectly lined up with this direction right here. And then pull the trigger. That's not how it works. With sailors, with airplanes, you're having to always be little making little micro adjustments in order to make sure that you're constantly on target as you're getting towards it. As you're going towards it, you have to constantly be readjusting. And that's how it is in life. That's how it is in marketing. That's how it is in the world of entrepreneurship. You're trying things out, you're testing things, you're changing things, and you're doing it again. It's just, it's a cycle. So maybe you should, instead of looking at how perfect can I get this before I even go out the gate with it, think about how quickly can I get this out there? Because Russell Brunson could have sat there for another 6 months or a year or 2 years trying to get all these things perfected before launching it. But he just threw it out there, flaws and all. I, at one point during the 3 day launch event that he was saying, "All right, everybody, I'm going to do this for the first time on camera." So he was testing his own product for the first time on camera in front of everybody. Now, I don't know about you, but I have very little faith in in being successful the first time I try something. Like it's bound to screw up because you don't know what you don't know, right? But he was just like putting himself out there, failing forward, just mistakes and all. It's just like, well, this might not go over too well, but let's just try. And it's that eagerness to do it imperfectly that got him to where he is now. And he's a multi millionaire, and maybe a billionaire by now. Who knows? And he's even showed a video of him, his very first talk on stage, and I was embarrassed for him. Have you ever seen something so embarrassing that you're embarrassed because you're watching it? It was just cringeworthy, right? It was just so bad. And so just think about this. The reason why he's the best marketer on the planet is because he keeps going out there and testing and trying and doing and launching new things. And even with ClickFunnels being as successful as it is, he didn't stop there. He's like, okay, I'm going to try something new again. Right. So keep that, I want to say, keep that childlike zeal throughout your business, no matter how advanced you think you are in your area of expertise. So I hope this has been helpful in some way. I know, just like a sailboat, I was kind of going all over the place there, but hopefully you got something out of this, and I hope it carries you forward to your next iteration, to your next launch, to your next um, success or failure, because failing is also part of it. Don't be afraid to fail, and get your message out there. You know, go out and shout from the rooftops, and see who is around to listen, and who dives in and becomes your best client. All right. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.